英語で国内ニュースです。優しい英語で今日の出来事をお届けします。
On the morning of April 19th, a car crashed into a bus stop in Shibuya Ward, Tokyo. The driver of the car died in the accident, and one pedestrian sustained minor injuries. According to the Metropolitan Police Department, a wagon car crashed into the bus stop after 10:30 a.m. in Higashi, Shibuya Ward.
On the morning of April 19th, a bear was confirmed in a residential area of Sendai City. The city and police are now discussing how to respond, including the possibility of an emergency hunt. Police reported the bear was seen after 4 a.m. in Kimakidori, Aoba Ward.
Iran's parliament speaker reported progress in U.S. talks, but major gaps remain on nuclear issues and the Strait of Hormuz. President Trump mentioned very good dialogue but warned of threats. Iran's Navy reclosed the Strait of Hormuz on April 18th, notifying merchant ships. 2 Indian vessels were reportedly attacked.
On April 19th morning, North Korea launched multiple ballistic missiles. Japan's Defense Minister Koizumi stated they likely fell outside Japan's exclusive economic zone. South Korea's military reported the missiles launched around 6:10 a.m. from near Sinpo, flying about 140 kilometers. South Korea urged North Korea to halt such provocations.
Around 400 fatal accidents annually involve drivers aged 75 or older. April 19th marks 7 years since an elderly driver caused a deadly accident in Ikebukuro, Tokyo, killing 2 and injuring 9. The driver mistakenly pressed the accelerator instead of the brake, causing the incident.
On April 19th, around 11:45 a.m., a passenger's mobile battery caught fire on an Osaka Metro Midosuji Line train at Daikokucho Station. The entire line temporarily suspended service. Smoke came from a bag, but the fire did not spread, and no injuries occurred. Service resumed around 12:15 p.m., affecting 29,500 passengers.
April 19th marks 7 years since an elderly driver's car caused a fatal accident in Ikebukuro, Tokyo, killing a mother and her young child. The victim's family visited the accident site today to mourn their loss and appeal for traffic accident prevention.
On April 18th, Iran's Navy notified merchant ships that the Strait of Hormuz is reclosed, forbidding passage. Iran's Revolutionary Guard declared strict control unless the U.S. guarantees free navigation for Iranian vessels. Additionally, 2 Indian-flagged ships were reportedly attacked in the strait.
Masato Kanda of the Asian Development Bank warned the yen could depreciate further if markets view the Bank of Japan's inflation response as too slow. He cited interest rate differentials and Japan's fiscal sustainability. Kanda also mentioned government gasoline subsidies, which some criticize for worsening the fiscal situation.
On April 18th, U.S. President Trump signed an executive order directing federal agencies to accelerate research into psychedelics like ibogaine. These substances were long classified as high-risk illegal drugs with strict regulations, but calls for their use have emerged, especially from veterans.
次は社会のニュースです。
The government has confirmed that North Korea launched multiple ballistic missiles. This event is being closely watched by authorities. Such missile launches often lead to increased tensions in the region. Officials are currently assessing the situation and gathering more information on these recent activities.
A magnitude 5 strong earthquake hit Nagano Prefecture. The Japan Meteorological Agency warns residents to be cautious of strong tremors for about 1 week. Active fault lines are present in the epicenter area. Experts predict that a large earthquake in this region could potentially cause shaking of magnitude 6 strong or higher.
7 years after the Ikebukuro rampage, Fatal accidents by elderly drivers average 400 annually. Operational errors, like pedal misapplication, are a major cause for drivers 75 and over, 3 times higher than for younger drivers. New automatic cars will require acceleration prevention devices from September 2028.
A bear was spotted in a residential area of Sendai City this morning. Authorities confirmed its presence in Aoba Ward. The city and police are discussing how to handle the situation. Options being considered include emergency hunting to ensure public safety. Residents are advised to be cautious.
The removal of an unexploded bomb found last month in central Nagoya has been completed. The operation finished on the 19th afternoon. Over 3,600 residents were evacuated, and traffic restrictions were in place. With safety confirmed, all traffic regulations have been lifted. Residents can now return.
A car crashed into a bus stop in Shibuya, Tokyo this morning. The driver of the vehicle died in the accident. One pedestrian sustained minor injuries. Police reported that a wagon car collided with the bus stop in Higashi, Shibuya Ward, shortly after 10:30 a.m.
In the Kyoto case, a father arrested for abandoning his son's body had searched how to dispose of a body on his smartphone. Yuki Adachi, 37, admitted abandoning his 11-year-old son's body in a Nanton city forest. Police believe he moved the body multiple times to evade detection.
A fire at a 4-story apartment building in Okinawa City this morning resulted in 1 death. A room on the 4th floor burned, and a body was found. The location is reportedly an office for a designated Yakuza group. A 70-year-old male resident is missing. Police are working to identify the deceased and investigate.
10 years after the Kumamoto earthquake, disaster-related deaths caused by health deterioration during evacuation greatly exceeded direct deaths. Many potential cases may be unrecorded as families did not apply for certification. An accurate understanding is essential for implementing effective prevention measures in future disasters.
Temperatures are rising across wide areas of Japan today, from Hokkaido to Tokai. Many regions are experiencing summer-like days, with temperatures reaching 25 degrees Celsius or higher. The meteorological agency advises everyone to stay hydrated and manage their health to prevent heat-related illnesses.
次はビジネス関連のニュースです。
Global airlines are reducing flights and operations due to surging jet fuel prices. This rush of cancellations is a response to the high costs and is expected to inconvenience passengers over the coming months. Travelers should anticipate potential impacts on their summer plans.
Middle East instability is causing severe supply concerns and price surges for naphtha, a crude oil derivative. Naphtha is crucial for plastics, affecting daily necessities like wraps, diapers, sanitary products, and medical supplies. These escalating costs and supply issues are raising fears of potential hoarding and reselling.
A new housing loan system, residual value loans, designed to lower monthly payments, is largely inaccessible. Despite government support for financial institutions, banks are hesitant to utilize it due to high costs and complex procedures. This limits options for homebuyers, even as housing prices continue to rise.
Defense Minister Koizumi is scheduled to visit Australia starting on the 17th. He will hold talks with Australian Defense Minister Marles to discuss key issues. Their agenda includes the joint development of new naval vessels for Australia and ways to strengthen regional deterrence.
Japan's ruling parties, the LDP and Nippon Ishin no Kai, are accelerating their review of constitutional amendment drafts in line with Prime Minister Takaichi's intentions. They also propose intensive discussions on emergency clauses in the lower house's Commission on the Constitution, aiming to start next week after coordination with opposition parties.
Masato Kanda of the Asian Development Bank warns the yen could depreciate further if markets view the Bank of Japan as lagging on inflation. He also cites Japan's fiscal sustainability as a yen weakening factor. Kanda suggests that subsidies for high oil prices, while politically necessary, are not a wise long-term investment.
American Airlines denies merger talks with United, stating it has no interest. The airline believes such a merger would harm competition and consumers and contradict the Trump administration's antitrust stance. This comes after reports that United's CEO had previously discussed the merger possibility with President Trump.
The dollar fell to a multi-week low in New York's forex market as risk appetite surged. This followed Iran's announcement that the Strait of Hormuz would open for merchant ships during an Israel-Lebanon ceasefire. President Trump confirmed the strait's safe navigation. Oil prices fell sharply while U.S. stocks and bond prices surged.
The U.S. Treasury Department will again allow the purchase of Russian crude oil, easing sanctions until mid-May. This aims to secure supply and curb soaring oil prices, which rose due to the Strait of Hormuz blockade. The allowance specifically applies to Russian oil and petroleum products loaded onto vessels by April 17th.
China is accelerating its humanoid robot industry, moving from mass production year 1 last year to practical application year 1 this year. With mass production underway and increasing company participation, China aims to quickly integrate these robots into factories and service industries through public and private efforts.
では、スポーツニュースをお伝えします。
Shohei Ohtani of the Dodgers achieved a 50-game on-base streak on April 18, tying Babe Ruth's record. The 31-year-old hit a single in the ninth inning against the Rockies. This marks a significant milestone. However, the Dodgers lost 3-4, ending their 4-game winning streak.
The NBA playoffs began on April 18th. Rui Hachimura of the Lakers scored 14 points in their first-round game against the Rockets. The Lakers secured a win in their opening playoff match. This is a strong start for Hachimura and his team in the postseason.
At the All-Japan Gymnastics Championships men's final, Daiki Hashimoto secured his 6th consecutive title. This championship also serves as a selection event for the World Championships. Hashimoto's achievement marks the most consecutive wins since Kohei Uchimura's record of 10 consecutive titles from 2008 to 2017.
Hanshin Tigers are discussing safety measures for the third base cameraman's seat at Koshien Stadium. This follows an accident where Chunichi Dragons player Fukunaga fell headfirst into the area during practice the previous day. Officials from Koshien Stadium and the team gathered to decide on future actions to prevent similar incidents.
Robuchen, ridden by jockey Matsuyama, won the Satsuki Show, Japanese 2000 guineas, on April 19th at Nakayama Racecourse. This marks Robuchen's second G1 victory, adding to the hopeful stakes win. The race, covering 2,000 meters on turf, is the first classic race for 3-year-old colts and fillies.
Kazuma Okamoto, 29, of the Blue Jays hit a crucial game-tying RBI single in the 6th inning against the Diamondbacks on April 18th. Playing third base, Okamoto's hit was his first in 4 games, leading to a multi-hit performance. This shows promising signs of his return to form.
Munetaka Murakami of the White Sox hit his 7th solo home run on April 18 against the Athletics, marking his 2nd homer in 2 games. His powerful hit in the 7th inning surprised commentators. Despite Murakami's impressive performance, the White Sox ultimately suffered a loss in 11 innings.
Figure skaters Riku Miura and Ryuichi Kihara, known as Riku-Ru, announced their retirement on SNS on April 17th. They attended the Imperial Garden Party that day. Kihara stated they wanted to convey their future plans to the Emperor and Empress. The Olympic gold medalists expressed their aspiration to become coaches together.
The Summer Koshien High School Baseball Tournament will expand its two-part system to 10 days, starting August 5th to combat heat. The daily schedule now includes 1 morning and 3 afternoon games. Also, 5 female umpires will be appointed, and dispatched umpires from prefectures will double to 16.
Kaoru Mitoma of Brighton scored his 3rd goal of the season in the English Premier League on April 18th. He netted the goal during an away match against Tottenham. Mitoma came on as a substitute in the 20th minute of the first half, making an immediate impact.
続いて、国際ニュースです。
North Korea launched multiple ballistic missiles on April 19th. Japan's defense minister stated they fell outside Japan's exclusive economic zone. South Korea reported missiles flew about 140 kilometers from Sinpo. South Korea's presidential office condemned the launches as violating UN resolutions. This marks North Korea's 7th launch this year and 4th in April, continuing its missile activities.
Iran's military authorities announced on April 18th they have resealed the Strait of Hormuz, placing it under strict control. This reverses a previous statement by Iran's foreign minister that the strait would be opened during the Israel-Lebanon ceasefire. The move comes as a 2-week ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran is nearing its end, increasing tensions in the region.
The UK Maritime Trade Operations reported on April 18th that an oil tanker off Oman was shot at by Iran's Revolutionary Guard vessels. This occurred while navigating off the coast. No injuries were reported. The incident follows Iran's recent announcement of resealing the Strait of Hormuz, contributing to heightened tensions in the Middle East.
President Trump and Iran's Parliament Speaker Ghalibaf reported progress in talks, but major differences persist. Trump warned against threats regarding the Strait of Hormuz. The Iranian Navy resealed the strait on April 18th, notifying ships of no passage. This occurs days before the U.S.-Iran ceasefire ends on April 22nd. 2 Indian ships were also attacked in the strait, adding to regional uncertainty.
On April 18th in Kyiv, Ukraine, a man shot passers-by and took hostages in a supermarket before being killed by police. Authorities reported 6 deaths and 14 injuries. The suspect from Moscow had an automatic weapon. Security officials are investigating the incident as a terrorist act, though the motive remains unknown. President Zelensky condemned the violence.
President Trump signed an executive order on April 18th to boost research into hallucinogens for treating mental illnesses. The initiative aims to help veterans suffering from PTSD, a significant issue since post-9/11 conflicts. The order highlights the potential efficacy of substances like ibogaine in clinical trials. Trump called veteran suicides a national tragedy and seeks to accelerate approval of appropriate medicines.
On April 18th, a French soldier with the UN Interim Force in Lebanon, UNIFIL, was killed, and 3 were injured in southern Lebanon. France suspects the pro-Iranian group Hezbollah was responsible, calling it an unacceptable attack. Hezbollah denied involvement. The incident occurred despite a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon, which began on April 17th and aimed to facilitate peace talks.
The USS Gerald R. Ford aircraft carrier and 2 destroyers entered the Red Sea on April 18th, transiting the Suez Canal. This deployment adds to U.S. naval presence in the Middle East alongside the USS Abraham Lincoln. The Ford previously operated in the Red Sea for anti-Iran missions. U.S. Central Command also reported turning back 23 vessels since blockading Iranian ports on April 13th.
U.S. President Trump's administration extended sanctions relief on Russian oil and petroleum products for about 1 month, announced April 17th. This aims to counter rising global energy prices. The Treasury Department permits oil purchases loaded by April 17th until May 16th. This decision follows previous statements that the relief would not be renewed, potentially complicating Western efforts to restrict Russia's war funding.
Japanese men are frequently arrested in Laos and Japan for child prostitution, despite a rare warning from the Japanese embassy in Laos last June. Laos, a Southeast Asian nation, faces slow economic development, leading to persistent human trafficking driven by poverty. Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs is strongly cautioning its citizens against engaging in child prostitution abroad.
続いて、文化・芸能ニュースをお伝えします。
The National Stadium operator, JNSE, apologized on April 19th to Mrs. Green Apple and their fans. The apology was issued through their official website, stating that their management system was not thorough enough regarding an explanation of a situation in a suite room during the group's performance.
K-pop group BTS held their first full-group concert in Japan in about 7 years at Tokyo Dome. The BTS World Tour, Arirang in Japan, took place on April 17th and 18th, drawing a total of 110,000 enthusiastic fans. The group expressed, "We missed you."
French actress Nathalie Baye, famous for her roles in films by directors François Truffaut and Jean-Luc Godard, passed away on April 17th. She died at her home in Paris at the age of 77. Her family confirmed the news.
On April 18th, 40 new students were admitted to the Takarazuka Music School, marking their first step towards becoming Takaraziens. They will undergo 2 years of rigorous training in singing and dancing. A student representative pledged dedication, while the principal encouraged them to pursue their stage goals.
In the second match of the Shogi Aio Sen, held on April 18th, Io Ito is now just 1 victory away from defending his title. Ito faced 8 Dan Saito, with both players displaying strong determination in the game.
Model and TV personality Hinano Yoshikawa announced her return to entertainment after an 8-year hiatus. Now 46 and a mother of 3, she signed with a new agency. The news highlights that successful comebacks today need an update and redefinition of one's public image, moving beyond mere nostalgia.
AKB48 member Manaka Taguchi, 22, announced her graduation from the group on April 18th. She shared the news with fans during a theater performance and on the official blog. Her final performance is scheduled for June 22nd. She expressed that her unorthodox style might have caused sadness.
The popular comedy trio Tonsukatan has announced their disbandment, concluding 14 years of performances and activities in the entertainment industry. The news marks the end of an era for their fans. Further details about the reasons for their decision were not immediately disclosed.
Former Anger member Ayaka Wada, now an artist, announced her marriage in Taiwan on April 17th. She explained her choice was due to Taiwan's allowance of same-sex marriage and the option for separate surnames, both of which she supports. Her partner is a 33-year-old from Taiwan.
Tokyo MX announced on April 17th that Chairman Hiroshi Date 77 was dismissed on April 15th for power harassment. An external investigation found he made remarks denying subordinates' personalities and displayed intimidating behavior. The company is also considering actions against other executives for failing their supervisory duties.
今日のニュースは以上です。最後までお付き合いいただき、ありがとうございました。おやすみなさい。